Hey crafty people, it's Tasha. Welcome to my channel. Today we're making 2-for-1 cards using a background that was actually a 2-for-1 itself already. So is that like 2 to the power of 2? Let's start by cutting this leftover panel with the heart window die from January's My Monthly Hero. So now I've got the heart itself and the window. I feel like this die is the perfect size to go across it, and I cut it from some Hero Arts watercolour cardstock. I've stacked 2 on top of each other, sticking them together with some liquid glue. I was planning to quickly colour both that and a background with the pink and gold spray that came in the premium kit this month, but I want to try using the die cut as a mask to see if I could stretch it even further. I'm going to slide that away and let it dry before I lift the die cut off. I'm spritzing all over an A2 panel of the same watercolour cardstock, randomly aiming to give me areas of more colour, but with areas of that stippled texture that you get from the edges of the spray. Now, I've got absolutely no chill, so I'm drying these up with my Wow Dual Speed heat tool on setting 1. Then, when I lift that die cut up, I am super happy it worked really well. So there's no waste from that. I'm going to use the die cut itself, and I'll use the negative sprayed section too. I'm just going to clean up my glass mat. It cleans super easily with just some water. I know my heart is going to sit roughly here, so I'm checking that I've got enough colour down on my background panel, and I think that actually I want to add a little bit more. Apparently I'm going to glue the sentiment down onto my heart first. I'm lifting it up so that I can look straight on at it, and I can check that my sentiment isn't crooked. So now I'm going to add a bit more colour to the background. Instead of pressing the pump down all the way to get a really fine spray like before, I'm just pressing it a bit to get some bigger drops and just intensify that colour in a few small places. And I'm really liking how that looks now. So let's work on our shaker card now. The full panel was larger than I need, so I'm cutting it down to 4¼ by 5½ inches. You could do this with a die, but I found it easier to just chop it myself. Now flip it over, and I'm adding double-sided adhesive to the back so that I can add my acetate. I only need it to cover the window, so I'm just adding tape around that area. Then I'll peel back the release from one side so that I can easily line up my acetate in place. Once I've got it there, I'm pressing it down to that exposed tape to keep it in place before peeling back the release on all the other pieces, pressing my acetate down, just working one side at a time. Now that acetate is in place and giving my panel a bit more stability, I'm going to ink blend the outside edges. If I did this without the acetate, it's quite likely that I would either crease or maybe even tear the paper, because there's really not a lot of it on the sides especially. So I'm using Azalea Reactive Ink, which is a gorgeous pink that goes so beautifully on this camel watercolour paper from this month's kit. I'm starting off quite lightly to build up that colour gradually, because I can always add more if I decide that I want to intensify it. I don't want to go too far because I'm not going to be able to take any of that colour back if I do. I'm not aiming to cover the whole panel. I want the colour to soften off into that beautiful camel colour of the paper itself, but I do want to have a bit more of an intense colour on the edges. So I'm just going round one side at a time until I'm happy with how that looks. I love how the masked off word came out. It honestly worked way better than I thought it would, but as this is going to be my main sentiment, I want to just define the edges a little, just to help it really pop from behind those shaker elements that I'm going to be adding. So I'm going to go round it with a pencil. It's just a really subtle change, but I think it'll really help that word stand out more. I've got this double thickness foam tape, which is great for thicker shaker elements, and it's thin enough widthways to fit down the side of my heart window, and that's honestly just a double win for me at this point. So I'm adding it on, but to help me bend it around the window, I've peeled back the release paper. Taking that off allows the foam to be much more flexible, so it goes around these bends really easily. When you're adding foam around a shaker like this, you need to always make sure that you aren't leaving any gaps anywhere, or you'll have runaway shaker bits and no one wants that. For the inside of my shaker, I'm using these gold and clear gems, and then I'm adding some pearl embellishments in there too. This is why I love that thicker depth foam. You aren't limited to using just flat pieces. Once I've got it nicely filled, I'm going to seal up the shaker with a piece of plastic packaging. This way, I'm going to be able to lift the shaker to place it exactly where I want it on my background piece, and I know that my sentiment will be centered. I've built up the rest of the panel with more foam adhesive so that it's going to sit on a level with my card base. I'm adding more double-sided adhesive tape behind my sealed shaker, and then I can flip it over to adhere onto my backing panel. I'll trim that excess off. I did realise at this point that I'd miscalculated it just a bit, and I have a gap at the bottom there, but I'm just repurposing some of that excess to plug the gap, and honestly, you'd never notice when it's all finished. I finished off the sentiments on both cards with a simple U stamped in that same azalea ink. And here they all are. Both my cards from today and the one that I made originally that today's background had come from. If you want to see how that came together, I'll have the video linked above. I'm really loving this colour scheme of pink and gold on the camel watercolour paper. It's not a combination that I would tend to reach for, so I enjoyed pushing myself with this month's kit. If you don't already follow me, I'd really love to have you join us, so please do consider hitting that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my new videos. I'm determined to get back to posting regularly in 2024 because I did let it slip a bit last year. I hope you have a lovely, happy, safe and wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.